Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Ascension is well underway at this point. Some big games going on last night in all the different regions we shall get into, but also TenZ revealing that he would quite like the return of Reyna into the competitive meta. Lots of questions with Deadlock arriving, especially for champions, not though for the LCQ, as to what the meta is going to be. He reckons a Reyna return could be very interesting, not really seen used in competitive for some time, but he seems very keen to try and bring it back, potentially for Sentinels at the last chance qualifier. Very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Some crazy plays here from the Neon, for example, from Jorgemo. Like, this guy just making some absolute donkey mode plays, but it works on Fracture. You guys know how good these were on Fracture right towards, especially the majority of that tournament. So yeah, this poor Brimstone gets absolutely tucked into bed. Also mentioning on something quickly, because the PRX official Twitch account yesterday confirmed something now has his visa for Japan. So yeah, looking forward to seeing something in Japan for the end of Masters Tokyo. And as they say here actually in Twitch chat, good news, he got his visa yesterday for Japan. So great stuff. Something's now good to go there. Unfortunately, the tournament has since long since concluded. Now, can PRX get his visa ready for champions? You would think so. If it took them, look, I don't know how long they've been working on this for Japan, but it's got to be a good couple of months at this point. You'd imagine that it's also been a good while, ever since they knew they were going to champions. You'd imagine they've also been working with, you know, the US authorities to also get his visa kind of like expedited as well, trying to make it happen a bit quicker. So it's, you know, we'll see, right, whether, because clearly Japan took quite some time to get this sorted out. And you would hope, at least, for something in PRX's sake, that the US can figure it out a little bit quicker than that. So they can at least be confident that he's going to be able to attend. He probably will, and I think it's highly unlikely that he won't be able to go, but it's still a bit of a tricky one for them to actually get this sorted, because it seems like he's got his Japan visa a little bit too late. Hopefully you can get everything sorted in time for LA, because, well, PRX could be one of the only teams that can actually challenge Fnatic. Like, looking at a lot of the teams right now, and especially the way the grand finals and many of the matches went, it's difficult to see a team out there that has a great chance of really matching up against Fnatic, unless maybe Loud come back to form and play at their peak performance, because we know how close they were and should have won back in Sao Paulo at the start of the season. Let's talk about the Ascension situation then, because it was all kicking off down there in Sao Paulo again last night, this time the Guard underway. Before we get to that, though, I wanted to mention the EMEA regions. The formats across the world are all very different, but they're all similar enough in some sense. There's some sort of group stage, some sort of playoffs, but here in EMEA, there's only 4 teams that advance through to the playoff brackets. There's 2 groups of 5, and so far they look like this. Ascender 2-0, Gentle Mates, of course, French team as well, they're 2-0, as are Apex. So it's looking a little bit clear how Group B is going. Group A is still all up in the air here, but the top 4 teams will then go through to the playoffs, where they'll play a GSL-style playoff bracket effectively, with a losers bracket in play to determine who goes through, and the grand finals will then come up on July the 17th, I believe, for the EMEA side, but that's still quite a while away, because after the group stage finishes, there's about a week off before they kick off again. Also, in the Ascension side for the Pacific, this is what's going on there. The playoffs here a little bit earlier, actually, but this time, instead of 2 teams qualify, it's 3 teams qualify, and they play 6 teams through to the playoffs. So here are the groups over there so far, with Bleed and, you know, other teams looking pretty good. They finally caught up a little bit on the action here after the disaster of a couple of days ago, where everything got unfortunately delayed. And yes, 6 teams will go through to the playoffs here, and it will look like this before it's a single elimination one, though, this one, into the grand finals, and the winner goes to VCT Pacific League 2024 and 2025. So yeah, the format's a little bit different across the world, but fundamentally one team will still make it. And we've got to talk about what happened in the Americas one. So the Guard played their first game last night up against Double O Nation, and certainly good teams. This is a pretty close fought series, but the Guard in the end just had a little bit too much. Net with a lovely play here as well, to just wait for all these guys to come around the corner. 1, 2, 3, actually hit the spray. It's kind of funny, like, in situations like that, if I was in that corner, how many kills am I getting in this corner, in this spot? Maybe I'm getting 2, but I feel like I'm not getting the 3rd here, right? Like, you guys have probably been in situations like this before, where you've got it all lined up, and then you just whiff the spray. I'd probably have killed the first guy with a headshot, managed to miss the spray transfer, and just body shot the second guy, and then get killed by the Brimstone. But yeah, it doesn't even make it close there for Net. So good play from him. They go on to win the first map in overtime, and then second map Haven was actually pretty comfortable comfortable in the end. And yeah, this eco round pretty much put the nail in the coffin. So the guard with a more confident start than we saw from M80 yesterday. Quick 2-0 here from the guard. It was 14-12 in the end on bind. It went to overtime. So good result from the guard to win that one. And then 13-5. Pretty comfortable on Haven. So they're looking very strong. And it's got to be said that typically, as we mentioned yesterday with M80, this team does get a bit of a debuff coming into playoffs. Like the Ghost Core in general, that's been a thing. And maybe you could even argue the same way for version 1 with Xander, who has maybe not quite delivered as much in a playoff situation as he has done in non-playoff situations. But in the end, Xander with a nice play here, they get the job done 2-0 over Fusion. Certainly not the strongest team in this tournament, Fusion. But in the end, M80 won this one pretty comfortably. Xander not, as I say, fully online yet necessarily, but a 13-7 on Fracture, 13-7 on Lotus. So this is more like the M80 that we know and expected this tournament, and it leaves the bracket like this. So the Union still looking good. The guard, though, with a comfortable win against Double O Nation will put them as potentially now sitting in the tournament favourite spot, who knows. But it's very much early days here, and the group stages will conclude today with the final couple of games. The seeding will then be officially determined going forwards into the bracket, and you would expect the seeding to probably stay as it presently is, unless there are any upsets that go on tonight, going into the final stages of that tournament in a few days' time, concluding on July the 9th, as you guys can see here in the top left-hand side. Wanted to mention, though, what TenZ has had to say. We know that Sentinels have been putting in good practice. They say they're very well prepared for the last chance qualifier, much more so than many other teams. Does that also mean, in terms of metas, have they got any new ideas? Have they got any things they're going to pull out for the last chance qualifier? Because when they know they're playing 100 Thieves, they know they're playing 100 Thieves, 100 Thieves know they're playing Sentinels. They've known this at this point for weeks. So they can prep hard. They can look into all the preparation, all the matches they played on certain situations. They can decide what they're going to do with vetoes. And obviously, look, you need to win more than just that first series to qualify, but it's a good stepping stone. So, you know, 100 Thieves will be looking into what Sentinels have done, and I'd imagine both teams are trying to concoct ideas that the other team might not be ready for, and maybe a TenZ Reyna acquisition could be a viable one. So he was playing at Reyna a lot lately, and especially on his stream yesterday in Deathmatch, and this Deathmatch clip, Team Deathmatch, right, so the new better version, is absolutely ridiculous. Like, the one taps, just the levels that you have when you've got a pro player of the caliber of TenZ versus just non-pro players. It just looks, it's just ridiculous to watch. And yeah, so TenZ was completely farming on the Reyna, and he was also using it elsewhere to pretty good effect as well. Not sure she's so viable right now in competitive play. She was used right at the start of the life cycle because she was pretty powerful, but in fairness, teams like PRX have used her quite effectively recently.
Yeah, I actually love TDM. TDM is probably the best warm-up. Not even like, I'm not joking at all either. I actually genuinely think it's really good. It's not only is it a good warm-up, it's fun. I find it fun, personally. Deathmatch is mindless. I don't like deathmatch. Deathmatch is shooting people in the back simulator or getting shot in the back simulator. Whereas this, I'm actually shooting people that are shooting at me. And vice versa. I feel like chamber would just be broken. Yeah, team deathmatch is really cool. I like it a lot. Neon's pretty good in this. I really like Neon. Any like duelist characters pretty good. Fade and Sova are pretty good too. Viper's pretty OP.
For dead.
What a bullets.
Reloading.
They're blind with fear.
I can fake flash this. No, he's running.
Hawk out!
Wait, do you want me to smoke or no?
Yeah, good. I'm backing up.
How long?
It's too long.
I'm dogging.
I'm gonna stay.
Let's go.
Oh, we done.
Resource.
Nice.
Cutting their vision.
That's too long.
Long.
One enemy remaining. Spike down B. Cutting their vision.
Oh.
Player
I may have
standing.
through. He doesn't know you're there. He doesn't know you're there. Good job. There's a, okay, I don't know if the optics are people.
I would have just swung, but I wanted you to get the ace.
So one of the reasons Reyna kind of fell out of being used a lot was because shooting down the flash is not too difficult to achieve, and therefore she was kind of considered, well, she's probably not really that strong in a great team play setting. However, with other flashes becoming pretty viable, especially, you know, Skye, there's been teams such as I think PRX who have employed the idea of having Skye and Reyna on the same team, and then Reyna will flash and then Skye will flash, or at least there's multiple flashes going out at the same time that make it pretty much impossible to dodge. So that's where Reyna actually can be and has proven to be pretty viable even in recent times. Now whether Sentinels will try this out, I don't know, but TenZ clearly feels very comfortable here on the agent. I mean, this clip was absolutely ridiculous, and I do wonder what the future is going to be there. So we'll see what they come up with, because I mean, TenZ on form like this, the crosshair play just, I mean, everything was just stunning to watch. And still, if you guys look, all-time highest average ACS per map for all international lands, the #1 performer is still TenZ from Masters Reykjavik 2021, averaging almost 290 ACS. Ye is on this list twice, actually, at Masters Berlin and Champions 2022. Then it's Durka at Champions 2021. Then Kang actually is in 4th place here at 274 ACS at Tokyo 2023. And after that, you've got Jing, Scream, and then Durka. So Durka on this list twice, Ye on this list twice, but still, the score to beat and really the performance, the international performance of all time to beat is still TenZ at Masters Reykjavik in like earlier days of Valorant, when metas like this could actually maybe play out a little bit more commonly than they do today. So very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you expect Sentinels and TenZ to pull anything interesting like that out come the last chance qualifier, especially when the teams know they're going to be playing against competition that's prepared for them very well and might need some interesting ideas for them to get over the line? So very much intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.